Today we're going to talk all about making colors for your baits, starting with 6 classics and moving on to a few more advanced pigments and flakes. By the end of this video, you're going to have exact recipes to make epic baits that catch fish. Hey guys, I'm Jason. My wife Amanda and I started Epic Bait Molds to bring you the highest quality molds and best customer service on the planet. We designed this course so you go from beginner to expert in making your own baits. Let's get started on today's video, which is building custom colors. And we have Adam from SCG Custom Lure Craft with us.
Good to be here.
What are we gonna start with?
Well, we got 6 classics that you could start making with very minimum supplies, and they're all gonna catch a ton of fish.
And you'll have the exact recipes for these. So you'll literally be able to measure everything out and rock and roll.
Absolutely. So let's get rolling. What do you think? Watermelon?
Sounds good.
Watermelon red is first.
All right, guys, so we're gonna start by shooting this 4.3-inch sleigh bait, swim bait with this color. And to show you kind of how adding more drops of pigment work, we're gonna take our color test mold here. We're gonna add 5, 10, 15, and 20 drops of pigment in 5-drop increments to pour them in here and show you 4 samples of what that looks like. So when you're mixing your colors in the future, you kind of see how that opacity changes as you add more drops.
Right.
And with every pigment, it's different. Some are thinner or thicker, so less drops goes a lot further.
Right.
All right, so let's get the plastics all out. That's already preheated. We degassed it, mixed the bottle up, and we're using Bait Plastics 242.
Yep. All of our recipes today, as you're following along, are gonna use 1 cup of bait plastics. So drop counts and the flake are all against 1 cup. All right, so I've got my pigment here. Watermelon is a classic. It is on the more translucent side, so you can afford to use a little bit more of it and not totally black out your bait, make it look more like a crayon, right? So that the light can pass through it. But the first thing I wanna do is wrap it up with a towel, wrap that top, and give it a shake so that I know that all the pigment gets mixed up and we don't have any separation inside the bottle. Putting a towel over the top of it, make sure that none of it comes spraying out if the top is a little bit loose.
And he has a bolt, or you can put a nut or a wash, or anything in there to shake it around.
Yeah, that's the sound, just to help it mix up. So we're gonna go with 5.
Yep.
Just to take a look at what super translucent watermelon would look like. All right, here's our 5 drops. Yeah, you can see in that cup how translucent that is. It's barely on the stir stick. So the way that I use this test mold in my shop, I actually drizzle it out, not by pouring it from the cup. I actually just take some off the knife and drizzle it right in there.
It's a small cavity, so that's
very small.
Yeah, that's not hard to do, it looks like.
I love this test mold too, by Epic, because it goes from thick to thin. So you can see in a bait, the thicker the bait, the more opaque it's gonna be regardless of the pigment. And as it thins out, the light's gonna be able to pass through that section easier, so it's gonna look a little bit more translucent. This gives you that whole range.
And also with this mold, which we're gonna show you a little later in the video, so stay tuned for that, is how you can take 2 colors out of here and put them together, and you can see the thin and the thick part for doing laminate baits.
So we're gonna keep going. We're gonna add 5 more drops, fill in the next channel, 5 more drops, fill in the next channel, 5 more drops, which will be 20 total. That's gonna be the last channel. Then we'll be able to compare those. After that, we'll add our flake and actually finish building this color.
Yep.
Sound good? All right, so we've got all 4 levels of translucency here. We're gonna set this aside and let it cool while we finish building our color. The last one we ended up with was 20 drops, right? So to make a classic watermelon red, you need 2 things besides the watermelon. You need a little bit of black, so we're gonna use 035 medium-sized black, 1/4 teaspoon for this cup.
And you could also use 04, right?
Yep, 04, 035, just depends on the manufacturer, who made it. Both are medium, or considered medium. So that's the first thing. And if you wanted to, you could go with just that, and what you have is called watermelon seed. So it's just watermelon with black flake. I like a little bit of red. Watermelon red looks just so darn good. So we're gonna go back to our teaspoon, use 1/8 of a teaspoon, so half of what we just used, in 015 red.
So a smaller size flake.
Smaller size gives depth and a little bit of, when I think about like the smaller size or the added colors, it gives a little nuance, right? It's like a highlight kind of nuancy color. All right, so let's mix her up and watch it come to life. Yeah, you see how beautiful that is with the red all throughout it. Got that beautiful translucent watermelon, and the black flake just breaks it up.
Yeah, it has like a depth to it.
It does.
With the 2 different colors in there.
2 different colors and 2 different sizes really makes a difference. All right, it's time to inject, sir. So this one's ready to rock and roll.
All right. Draw it up.
And this mold actually has 3 individual cavities because it's a swim bait. Watermelon red and a swim bait. Very nice color, mimics a whole assortment of bait fish, especially bluegills and things of that nature. But you can see he's got 3 different ports to shoot because each bait is on its own. There we go. The rest goes back in the cup, and we'll follow that up. The middle one's looking like it's drawing just a little bit. Watch the other 2 to make sure. And while that is cooling off, it'll only take, what, 2 minutes or so, 3 minutes. I think our test mold is cooled off, and we'll take a look at the different opacities of watermelon.
All right, so you can see here, this is just our liquid pigment with no flake. This is our 5 drops, our 10, 15, and 20 drops. And you can see as the color changes as you go through, this is much more, you can see that reflection through there much more than this one, and so on and so forth. And this one's actually a little underfilled, but...
Underfilled for some reason, but you can kind of get the point, right? It's translucent all the way up to the thickest part, and then this darker part starts a little bit lower because there's more drops, and that darker part goes even lower, and the darker part goes even lower because it's more and more opaque as it goes.
Yeah, so let's pull these out and see what they look like. Wow.
Super translucent. Yeah, so you can see how translucent this one is as opposed to that one. Even though I didn't fill it up all the way, it's still far more opaque. But then as it gets into the thinner parts of the bait, at each different level, it gets lighter and lighter.
Yeah, this is something that's important to think about when you're mixing colors, especially when you get more technical, because you got to think about what bait am I shooting this in and how is this going to affect, let's say, the claws on a craw or the tail of a swim bait, so on and so forth.
Absolutely.
All right, so now it's been a few minutes. We're going to take the clamps off of the 4.3 prey bait mold here and see
our creation.
Yes. Oh, coming off on both sides, but there it is. Awesome looking baits.
Absolutely gorgeous.
And you can see where we were talking, the body is less see-through than the tail, so it kind of gets that lighter green as you go down to the tail.
Yep. And if you know you're going to be fishing in super clear water, then just back off the drop count, right? Go to a 15 or maybe even a 10, but and the thickness of the bait, right? So just like our test mold, the thickest part was always the darkest. If you've got a bait that's thick all the way around, then you know that you don't need 20 drops or maybe not even 15. You could back it all the way down to 10. But to me, that's part of the fun of figuring all this out, because you can dial in the exact bait you want for the exact conditions that you're gonna fish.
Yep.
All right, our second cup is all ready to go for our second color, going to be June bug. So if you fish in dirtier water especially, this one can be really effective because that purple can get pretty opaque if you want it to be. What mold are we gonna use today?
So today we're gonna be shooting the Epic Bait Molds 3.5-inch drop shot leech. Awesome little leech style bait. It's a 10 cavity, and this should look really good in here because it goes from thin to a little bit thicker, not super thick, and it kind of will have that natural kind of leech look to it too, which will be awesome, a dark color.
Very cool mold. I have it and I catch fish on it. So, all right, June bug pigment from Bait Plastics. Let's go with 12 drops, take a look at that and see what it looks like. Let's mix that up. So if you don't know June bug, if you're brand new to this, which you might be, June bug is just a purple. That is looking very nice. We could actually...
It's not super dark.
No, it's not super dark. So let's go ahead and add like 5 more drops.
And that's something too to note, like we said before, each manufacturer's pigments are a little different. That's why something like the color test mold or just really observing as you are mixing, you might need more or less drops.
Yeah. One way that I like to do it, I mean, this is always gonna be pretty translucent when you pick it up on the stick, unless it's really, really thick. But I try to see the stick or the butter knife, right? And I push it down in there and see when I can't see it anymore, right? Once I can't see it anymore, oftentimes that gives me a good indication that my opacity is where I want it.
Awesome. All right, so what kind of flake are we gonna add in this June bug color?
Yeah, classic June bug is purple pigment with green flake. We're gonna do 2 different sizes so we get that same kind of depth and dichotomy, right?
Yep.
So we're gonna go with medium size and small, so 035, 040, and 015. When you're using flake and the larger the particle size, the more it's gonna spread out. Right? So you can afford to use a little bit more of the larger sizes because it's gonna space out in the bait a little bit
less
more.
flakes overall,
Right.
kind of. So
Which makes sense because if you think about really, really small particle sizes, 015 or even down to the 0.008, which is almost like a powder, that's gonna go all over and really kind of cover the whole bait.
Gotcha.
Right? So we're gonna use 1/4 teaspoon for the larger size. And then we're gonna half that, which is a pretty standard thing that I try to do, or I tend to do. I'll go to half or even half of a half of the smaller size. Just because, like I said, it goes throughout the bait quite a bit more. All right, so let's stir in that green. Try not to get it all over the sides. Get it down in the pigment. There you go.
Wow, it changes it so much.
Yep. Really does. All that reflective green is gonna pick up light down, really at multiple depths. So, classic June bug. All right, I think this is ready to rock and roll. You ready to inject, sir?
Yep.
All right, all yours.
Awesome.
Single port mold, gonna go down the runner and fill all of those cavities.
Yep.
Nice and smooth.
Not a lot of volume in this mold. The baits are pretty thin. And I'm just holding pressure for a second there. Pulling up, top that off. Wow, that looks cool.
This bait is so cool. It like undulates in the water on a drop shot. It is killer. All right, man. I think she's cooled off, so we can take a look.
Pull our clamps off. Here we go. Oh
yeah.
Look at that.
Absolutely gorgeous.
Wow,
And again, if you wanted it even darker, you could just keep adding pigment, adding drops, and you'll get a nice dark look. But there's just something special about a translucent purple with all of that reflective green. Yeah, buddy, especially drop shot, right? You're usually gonna be fishing a drop shot in clearer water, so killer. All right, man, ready for the next color. Another cup of bait plastics, 242. And I think we're gonna do monkey milk, a classic crappie catcher. So,
and to go with that, that's what we have our 2-inch Crappie Slayer mold. This is a super popular crappie bait, has that single little flicker tail for lots of action, fish, slow or vertically. And so what do we start with? We have a liquid pigment.
Yep, liquid pigment by Bait Plastics. They make their own monkey milk mix, which if you don't know what monkey milk is, it's like a white pearl with a blue highlight. But in certain lights, you can actually see just a little bit of iridescent purple even at times. And some really awesome stuff happens when you add the black flake. So you'll see that in a minute. But to get going, we got about a cup here, so 20 drops of monkey milk. All right, we got our 20 drops. Get this mixed up here. And even in the cup, you can already start to see that? The white pearl with that blue pearl essence, super awesome. And you could shoot this Really right now you could shoot it all by itself. This is a good enough pigment. Really all these are to stand on their own. You could add a little bit of silver if you wanted to really kind of shimmer get that scale effect. But awesome stuff happens, as I mentioned, when you put a little bit of black flake in. So I have the small black flake. It's the only thing we're gonna add, 0.015.
Okay.
And it's real easy to overdo it. So we're only gonna go with a 1/16 of a teaspoon for this cup. So I got a 1/4 teaspoon here. I'm just gonna do 1/2 of a half. Put that in there. All right, now watch the blue come to life because that black flake is gonna act as a backer and make that blue pop.
It's my favorite part right here.
Yep. Boom. See all that blue, all that extra blue that just popped out?
Wow.
Catching all that light. It's amazing what a little bit of black flake will do to bring out a highlight. Really something. All right, man, let's shoot it.
All right. Got our 8-ounce injector.
And this is a 20 cavity mold, right?
24.
24 cavity mold, yeah.
24.
So you are getting 24 crappie baits out of one shot. That's pretty sweet.
All right, so it's been a minute and a half or so. This is a smaller bait, doesn't require quite as much time to cool off. Pull our clamps off, and time for the favorite part here. Pull it, oof.
Oh man.
That is crazy.
That blue shimmer, it just, every time, monkey milk never gets old. It never gets old.
Yes.
You could use this color in the belly of a swim bait. You can use it just like this. You can use it with the black flake. You can use it with silver flake. You can put some holographic silver in there, and then you get a bunch of different colors all at once. I mean, it is super versatile, and man, it looks good in everything.
All right, since we just did a 2-inch Crappie Slayer, let's do another crappie bait and another awesome color to go with that. So here we have our 3-inch, so it's a little bit longer, 3-inch Crappie Crusher mold. Another awesome crappie bait, but the difference is the tail has 2 little forks on the end instead of 1 point. Still has that same crazy action, but it can have more rock and things like that. And so the color we're doing today,
chartreuse pepper. So this is a chartreuse from Bait Plastics as well. Just like the June bug that we used, it's in their EX series. So a little higher quality, makes a really nice bait.
awesome.
So for this one, we're gonna go with 15 drops as well to start. Same 1 cup of Bait Plastics 242. Drops are in, let's mix this around. Chartreuse, yeah.
That's so bright.
It's like a fluorescent yellowish with some green tint to it. So good. Chartreuse is a common color found on bait fish, right? A lot of bluegills have a little chartreuse on them. And of course, crappie, if you love the crappie fish, they like bright colors.
Yes.
And man, they go after it. So chartreuse pepper is a great start with the chartreuse. We need to complement that, just like monkey milk, with 0.015 black flake. Just get that little bit of pepper.
And that's gonna darken it, kind of, I don't know if muddy it up is the right word.
Yeah, it does. It mutes it just a little bit, but it gives it texture, right? So you still have all the brightness, but now you have kind of that, that texture of a real fish, if you will. So you can overdo it on this one. So again, just a 1/16 of a teaspoon is all you need. All right, here we go. Shove it down in there, stir it up. It just kind of breaks it up. See how you don't lose any of the brightness. It's still nice and bright, but it just gives you a little bit of texture throughout the bait. All right, so we're right around 320, 325. It's a good spot.
Awesome.
Let's go ahead and shoot that guy.
All right, and this mold's not freezing cold. It's also not very warm. It's just kind of a neutral to the touch feel. Right at a single port, slow and steady. When you feel the injector stop, just hold pressure for a few seconds. So it's been a couple minutes. Let's take the clamps off.
3-inch Crappie Crusher.
And here we go.
Oh man, yeah.
It's so bright, but still like not overwhelming because it's kind of muted a little with the black flake.
Yep. And at 3 inches, right, big crappie are gonna go after this. Bass will annihilate this. If you're in any kind of stained or dirty water, muddy water, this is like go-to territory, man. Goodness gracious, let me pull that up.
Oh yeah.
There it is. I just love that forked tail. So much action in there. Goodness gracious. And what a color, so simple. Just 2 elements, chartreuse and black.
All right, so next up, we are gonna shoot our 5-inch classic stick bait again. We actually shot this in a prior video, so if you wanna check that out, that is the how to shoot injection mold baits. And we did a chartreuse tail. What color was that body? That was?
Green pumpkin with black flake, which is similar to what we're gonna do, but we're gonna do that again with a twist. LureWorks, Green Pumpkin 109, probably the most classic version of Green Pumpkin on the planet. I love it. We're gonna go 15 drops in this cup. Okay, let's give it a stir here. See that green, which is a greenish brown. Very, very natural looking. Still translucent in the thinnest parts, which is super nice.
It looks so dark though, just in the cup.
Yeah, it always does. It always does. So to that, we definitely want to add some black. So if you wanted to recreate what we did in the other video, this is where you would go. 035, 040, both same thing. Medium black. Gonna go just a little bit less than 1/4 of a teaspoon, maybe even half of that, so 1/8 of a teaspoon, because we're actually gonna put another large or medium-sized flake in here, so we don't wanna overdo it.
So if you aren't doing the second flake, you could do a little more of this.
Right, right.
Create more texture in there.
Yeah, normally with a medium, if I just wanted a classic, like I go to Bass Pro and I want a green pumpkin stick bait, I would have 1/4 teaspoon of black flake plus the pigment that we just put in.
Awesome.
Yep. But we're gonna go one extra step. I like a little purple in mine. Bluegill often have purple on the edges, and bluegill are just about everywhere.
Yep.
So 035, 040 purple, as opposed to the smaller. So far, any of the accent colors have been smaller, but we actually want to do big on both of these. So 1/8 of a teaspoon of purple as well. This is one step from green pumpkin candy. If you wanted to add some green flake to this as well, you could actually make a green pumpkin candy color.
Well, that's awesome to know, because that's 3 colors in one.
The same color that, or the same green flake that we use for the June bug, you would use for this. But there it is, a little bit more sparse on the flake, but that purple adds such a nice accent. So we warmed it up a little bit, back up to around 330, 335, which is great for a single color.
Sweet.
It is all yours, sir.
Thank you. We're gonna pull this up. Transition over, and this mold has a lot of cavities, and there are a lot of bigger cavities, so this is really gonna use a lot of plastic. As you can see, I'm still going down, still injecting. Now it's slowing down and stop. And I'm gonna hold pressure on here to make sure that those cavities are not dented. Okay, so let's demold this guy and take a look. All right, here we go.
Green pumpkin, purple.
Ooh.
Oh yeah.
Nice and dark. But still light will come through that, and you can really see the texture of the black, but you see the shimmer of the purple.
Just that little sparkle here and there of that purple really makes it look nice. And as is the case with all of these, if you like a lot of flake, then man, load it up, right? Put even more in. If you want a little less flake, you want the pigment to kind of carry the day, then just reduce it. It's totally customizable to however you want it to look. All right, one more classic color, another cup of Bait Plastics 242, and I don't know, besides green pumpkin, which we just saw, I don't know if there is a more classic, iconic color than black with blue flake. Black blue, I mean, it catches the snot out of them everywhere, especially if you have any dirty water. That contrast of the black against dirty water is a fish catcher, and I've heard it even works well in clearer water too. It really just does well. So what are we gonna be shooting it in?
So today's mold is gonna be the 4.6 Neko Crawler. It's actually modeled off of kind of a shape of a night crawler would take. They can flatten their tail out or their ends out to kind of make this bulbous shape here. There's a lot of meat to hook onto. You can fish this several different ways. I love doing it on like a Ned rig setup, but
yeah,
we'll get this guy shot and they're gonna look good.
Yeah, they are. Yeah, especially in black blue, yes, which is gonna start with LureWorks black. So really simple. Let's do another 15 drops to get started. All right, pretty simple here, just a nice black. We still want it pretty darn opaque, so you can see it's a little darker on the stick, but in the thinner parts of the bait, we'll see it lighten up just a little bit to like a dark smoke.
Yeah, and this is kind of crazy because it looks like not see-through at all here.
Yep.
That's where, like he's saying, use that or the color test mold and drizzle some in there. You can peel it out in like 30 seconds and take a look and see if it's the right opacity for you.
Absolutely, and sometimes you don't want it to be see-through, right? If you're in that dirty water, you want it to be opaque and you want to have as much contrast as possible. So to that, we're gonna add blue flake at 2 different levels. We're gonna add a medium, 035 or 040, and a 015. Quick note though about the kind of blue flake that we're gonna use here. So this is LureWorks Royal Blue. I've been making baits a long time and I've gone through a lot of different blue flakes to try to find one that can hold up and stand up to black pigment. Sometimes, even though it's named even Royal Blue with another manufacturer, which looks great, but it gets lost in the black pigment.
So you're saying it's more like vibrant,
right? It's blue. A stronger blue, and it'll really help show. So this is what I use. I love it. First one is, like I said, 035 medium, quarter of a teaspoon for a cup here, maybe just a hair less, right around there would be great. And then we're gonna follow that up with 1/8 of a teaspoon of 015, just like we did before, right? Half the size, or half the teaspoon rather, of the smaller flake. All right, let's drizzle that down so they all go down in there. We don't lose any. There we go. And you can see how that blue stands up against the black.
Still a really dark color, but yeah, I can see it now.
You have the shimmer, right? If you can see that light shimmer off of it, you haven't lost the impact of the blue. Killer. All right, man, this is ready to go. Give us some black and blue Neko Crawlers, Crawlers, whatever you want to call them.
They're gonna look good regardless. All right, it's a single port, so we're shooting down there. Again, a little bit bigger volume in here, so injector's still going down. And there we hit the bottom, so I'm just gonna hold a little pressure on the handle here. All right, let's demold this guy. We were just talking to, and one thing you don't wanna do is squeeze this without gloves like I just did, because sometimes this can actually still be like molten and hot and it will go on your fingers. We know that it's very much solid right now. We tested with our gloves before this.
Plastisol burns are not fun.
They're very bad. All right, here we go. Let's open this up.
Oh gosh. Man, I am such a sucker for black and blue.
That looks so good.
I never go anywhere without black and blue. It just is such a classy look. It catches the snot out of them.
Yeah.
Oh man.
Look at that. Ooh.
Now, if you wanted to go down to say 10 drops or 12 drops, you might get a little bit more transparency as it thins out, maybe a little bit more in the tail. But for my money, if I think black and blue, that short of a laminate where it's blue on the bottom and black on top, this is black and blue in my head. Absolutely gorgeous.
Awesome.
So that's gonna do it for our 6 classic colors. You can make any of those go out and catch a fish today. Now we're gonna kind of transition into some specialty pigments, stuff like changeables and color shifts. So our plastic is ready to go. Why don't you tell them about the mold here?
So for this next color, we're gonna shoot our 5.4-inch WhipWad. We designed this with marling baits. Has an awesome, huge, chunky, curly tail, lots of detail and texture on there. There's just 3 ports here, so you'll be injecting 1, 2, 3 baits, so 3 separate injections, not just 1 sprue to fill everything like the last few molds we've done. And also in here, you'll see that there's these inserts, and these inserts can be flipped around if you want a hook slot or no hook slot. So if you're fishing on a jig head or like a swim bait, a hook or something like that, you could switch how this hook slot turns out. So for today, we're gonna shoot these with the hook slots this way, so they have a hook slot in the bait for use on a swim bait hook.
Cool. All right, so this first changeable specialty pigment that we're gonna use is called chameleon dye from LureWorks. So a couple of things you need to keep in mind when you're using changeables or anything that's labeled as a dye, D-Y-E. That generally means, I've never seen it not mean, that it bleeds. That's just a fancy way to say if you make a bait with two colors, and this would be one of them or any other dye, this color will bleed over or blend with the second color, and over time, those two colors will actually become one. It'll be a mix of the two.
Which would be a surprise when you go to your tackle box, pull them out or something, and you're like, wait, what color is this?
Absolutely.
I thought it was a white with, that color.
Yeah, a lot of reds are bleeders. And even if you put them in your tackle box and they're sitting beside each other, they're touching each other, they can actually bleed into one another. So just keep that in mind when you're using dyes. With this one, we're going to go with 20 drops of chameleon for this 1 cup. Let's go ahead and mix that up. Chameleon looks like it's just purple, right? This kind of has a purpley, pinkish type look to it, but some pretty amazing things happen when it gets thinner, but also when you add some black flake. So far we've used a medium size 035, 040 black flake in other colors, and we've used 015 black flake in other colors. We're actually gonna bust out a large for this one. So this is 062, one step up from the medium. Let's go with just a little bit less than 1/4 teaspoon. And actually, right before I put it in, you can kind of almost see a little bit of hint of what's gonna happen. You got that little brown there, and if you look around the edges, you can see that this pigment has a brown aspect to it. This is gonna pull that out. So we're gonna put that black in, and we're gonna go with 015 black. We're gonna do a half of an eighth, or a half of a quarter rather, which would be an eighth. We'll put that in there as well. All right, now watch this. As we mix that up, and that black acts as a backer, see the brown coming right through, right in the middle. So now we have a brown to purple, which if you are accustomed to popular bait colors, we now have a PB and J. All right, man, this is ready to rock and roll.
I'm very excited to see this in the WhipWad.
Yep.
So in a classic PB&J is actually 2-color laminate.
It is, yeah, it's a brown and a purple together. But with this one, you have one pigment and yet you get 2 different colors, especially with something like the WhipWad, because the WhipWad is a nice thick body and then that tail is really thin. When we demold this, we should see a nice brown body with that black flake and a nice purple tail. PB&J, baby.
And while I'm shooting this, it's crazy because it's very much purple on the surface.
Right.
But in the sprue or the port here, it's like brown, like super duper brown.
How awesome is that? 2 colors with 1 pigment. All right, man. Let's see our creation. Can't wait for this one. It's gonna be super freaking cool.
Okay.
Oh, you need a thingy?
Yeah, I'll use that. So on top here, we have this little slot for cracking those open if they're hard to do. Oh, man.
Look at that. PB and J.
Wow.
So cool. And you can even see a little bit of the J because that hook slot is in there, right? It's blocking a little bit. But if we pop that out, now you got a fully PB, unless you turn it. I mean, where I'm standing, I can still see some J come through there.
Yep.
It shifts, and then that thinner part of the tail is all jelly.
That is so crazy.
That is pretty stinking cool.
Wow. All right, so next up, we are gonna shoot a 6-inch finesse worm mold. And over here, we have something a little different. We've been using liquid pigments, but now we have a powder pigment.
Yep, and not only a powder pigment, but a color shift powder pigment. So it's gonna have multiple colors in one element, just like our PB&J did. So this one in particular is called Lava Craw. Doesn't that just sound awesome?
Sounds crazy.
It's a red to orange color shift, and it's by Barlows Tackle. They have a whole line of color shift powders. I own them all, love them. use them all the time. So 1 cup of Bait Plastics 242 as what is the norm. We're gonna go with a little less than 1/4 teaspoon on this one.
That looks like copper bronze kind of.
Oh dude, it's so awesome. Especially in the spring. You know how oftentimes red in the spring is a go-to color, right? This is gonna give you that and then a little something extra.
And this stuff looks like a little harder to mix in versus the liquid pigments because it's kind of floating on the surface. So you really gotta make sure to get it down there.
Yep.
You can pull the plastisol up and kind of drizzle it on top to pull it down.
Yep.
But you definitely wanna get it off the edges, otherwise your ratios aren't gonna be quite correct.
Yeah, I'm glad you said that. Anytime you use a powder, doesn't matter if it's this stuff or any kind of powder, you definitely have to mix it so that the powder breaks up inside. But take a look at that, just on its own. I mean, we could shoot the bait just like that. All those reds and oranges and yellows. I mean, it looks like fire. It looks like lava.
The swirl pattern is crazy.
I know, it's got that darkish black swirl pattern. So cool. So as awesome as that is, we are gonna take it up just a little bit, just a little notch, because I love flake, and we're gonna go with 2 different ones. Gonna go with a medium red, so 040 or 035 medium. This is gonna really drive home the red aspects of this lava craw. 1/4 teaspoon, all of it goes in. And then, since this is kind of a red to orange, red to copper, thought we'd play with that and add a 1/4 teaspoon, I'm sorry, 1/8 teaspoon of 015 copper. So half of my 1/4, drop that guy in there. Let's give that a mix. Another great option for this is holographic red. It's another awesome option, but straight red will look awesome too. That looks good. So now we got the sparkle of all those different flakes, and we've got the color shift of the pigment. Double check our temperatures. Yeah, right around 335. I think that's gonna be
perfect.
Just right. I do like to shoot a little bit colder when it's a laminate, but this is only 1 color, 1 pigment rather, but we're gonna get 2 colors out of it, so we can be a little bit higher on the temps. But same process.
Draw it up, go to the port, push down, you see the injector going down, we're injecting, and right there it's full. You can hold pressure for a few seconds. Again, you can roll this down or leave it on there. If you roll it down, it makes a little cup to kind of fill up, so fill that up. And as always, that's so that as this cools and shrinks, it's gonna draw that in. But you gotta still watch it and top that up.
Yep, so we'll give that time to cool and we'll check them out.
All right, here we go.
Oh yeah.
Look at that. Shot perfectly.
Yep. You can really see in the sprue the red to orange, because of course this is at my perspective and I'm kind of behind it, so it's gonna look actually different for you all looking straight on it. But as you move it around, you can see all those different colors. Let's go ahead and take it out.
Yep. Oh man.
And I love the flake too. It really kind of grabs the red, like right there as it's going over. From my perspective, this is all red, and then as it comes over, it's kind of a yellowish orange.
And one thing to notice too is that you can't see through this bait like at all. And that's common with this, or that the powders can be.
Yeah, you can go light on powders to get a more translucent look. You can go heavier on powders to get a more opaque. Same way. Very cool.
All right, so for our last color here today, we're gonna make something a little more wild. You see we have several things on the table here, including some of 8-bit baits. It's like a flake, I don't know how to describe it. It's like a multi-size flake.
Multi-size color shift. The stuff that we've been doing here lately is color shift, right? All these colors, well, you can do that in a flake as well. It doesn't have to be just 1 color.
So it's kind of crazy. And perfect mold, your favorite, maybe?
Absolutely, best crawl on the planet.
Is the 3.4-inch Glory Craw. This is the 3-cavity mold, but again, it has a single port and runner, so we'll be shooting it 1 time to get these 3 baits.
Super sweet. Yeah, so as Jason mentioned, the color that we're gonna be dealing with isn't a classic, right? It's one that's kind of unique. There's just a jack ton of colors out there. We've only shown you a couple of the base, right? The classic colors, but there's some really sweet stuff out there like this one from Barlows Tackle that oddly enough is called Sweet Honey. Really awesome color. It's in their ultra transparent line, so you're gonna get all kinds of light that comes through the bait. And we're gonna play off of that because what we're also going to do, we're gonna step up and use the biggest flake of the series so far.
Yep.
So this is 1/8 inch, 0.125 inch flake, which is twice the size of the 062 that we just used
it's huge.
a couple of builds ago. First thing we're gonna do, get into our Sweet Honey, and we're gonna put in 17 drops. All right, so there's our 17 drops. Let's mix this around and watch that honey come to life.
Oh yeah, looks just like honey.
Look at that. Looks just exactly like honey. Look at that. So awesome,
crazy.
Isn't it?
Yeah.
Ultra transparent, just like the bottle says, and it looks just like honey.
Wow.
Super, super cool. But to that, we want to add our flake now. So as I mentioned, let's go to the super big one. 1/4 teaspoon. And as we mentioned not too long ago, the bigger the flake size, the more it's gonna spread out. So we can use 1/4 teaspoon for this cup. And what this is gonna do, spoiler alert, because this pigment is ultra transparent and light, we really wanna harness the power of that transparency and let the light go through it, right? Well, this giant flake is gonna block that light in certain parts, and it's gonna make the bait look molten, right? Like a molten craw that's scurrying around on the bottom and has got mud and dirt all over it. Super awesome. We do wanna also add though, a little bit of 015 black flake, just to fill in
the voids,
the voids, right?
Yeah.
So 1/8 teaspoon of that. I super like this dichotomy, right?
Yeah.
When you go all the way as big as you can go and almost as small as you can go, it really gives the bait a lot of depth. So we're gonna do that. And the coup de grace is a little siren scales. This is, at the time of this filming, it's brand new. It's actually called motor oil. So if you're new to bait making, that might not be something that you're familiar with, but you'll come to learn very quickly because motor oil is a classic.
Yep.
It goes from brown to green, and it's in a siren scale. So we're going to crack this bad boy open.
And a lot of the other motor oils you see are actually a liquid pigment.
Right, they're a liquid pigment. This is one of the
Flake,
few flakes.
Oh, it has like a red in there.
Oh yeah, red to green to brown.
I mean, that looks like lava-ish.
Doesn't it though? I mean, it's so cool. So I've got a little over 1/8 teaspoon. If you like it a lot, you can load it up with a whole 1/4. We're gonna go with 1/8. All right, let's mix this guy up. We were talking a bit, so we're gonna have to get it warmed up here, but yeah, see the motor oil
That's crazy.
siren scales in there? And you can see those giant pieces are gonna be really spread out in the bait, which is gonna make it look super molten and super freaking cool. All right, so we did heat it back up. We're now right around 335, which I think is gonna be perfect. You do want to stir it a little bit more and suck it up into the injector right away because those bigger flakes will want to drop faster than other flakes. So you get you a good stir. The siren scales don't do that. They're super, super light. They'll actually fly away from you if you're not careful. But those big flakes, they will actually drop on you.
There we go.
There we go. Sweet Honey by Barlows. Man, what a cool name. And makes a pretty dope looking bait too.
Time for the demo.
All right, man. Let's check out some Sweet Honey with siren scales motor oil. That just sounds good.
I know.
In the glory craw too. Oh my god. Oh gosh.
Oh yeah.
Holy moly.
So that's the belly side.
That is the belly. Look at the siren scales. See those come through as they move. man. So we gotta pick it out. We gotta pull it out, because when you see the light go through it, it's when it really shines. Look at how light those legs are. And then the randomness of that giant flake,
that's what I was saying,
makes it look all molten.
Like, look at that claw, didn't even get any, and now it has it's like loaded. That's kind of cool.
It's exactly like nature, right? Nothing is symmetric, everything is random, and that, especially with that giant flake, it gives you that kind of look.
Wow.
So freaking cool, man. So stinking cool.
All right, to round everything out with all these colors, we have everything kind of out here. These are the 6 first colors we made, and as we made each one, we poured them into our color test mold here, and then we demolded them and we put them here. So right now we can kind of show you what some of these baits look like together as a laminate. So that's shooting 2 colors into the same mold, making 2 colored baits. That's what the laminate is. So what are some of the 3 popular colors you can make?
Some classic colors. So we have these 6 kind of building blocks, right? The classics to start with, and now you're just gonna mix and match. So a couple that come to mind, you could mix and match the black with blue and the monkey milk, right? Put that together and get a classic shad. A lot of shad are darker on top, white on the bottom. So that's a go-to. You could keep the monkey milk in hand, because it's such a good belly color, especially for swim baits, and combine it with the green pumpkin that we made, and that could be like a green gizzard shad. A lot of those shads have a greenish tint to them. You could also do that with the watermelon if you wanted to. For, say, bottom dwelling baits, right? You want to mimic a creature or a craw on the bottom. You can combine green pumpkin, June bug, and that gets you a color called Bama Craw. Super cool, right? So many opportunities, so many possibilities with this. You could do even chartreuse and white. That's another classic color that catches the snot out of them. So here it is. That's what, 4? Just combining these 6 basic colors. But guys, the sky's the limit. You don't have to limit yourself there. You can get crazy with this stuff. For instance, here's one of my favorites. This one's got a really cool name too. Molten Swamp Dragon. How cool is that name, right?
Did you make that up?
No, I didn't make that up. It was a buddy. I added the molten part. It was Swamp Dragon, and I put an extra little thing from 8-Bit Baits in it to make it Molten Swamp Dragon, but it's a black top. It's a see-through clear belly until you turn it, and then it turns all these reds and oranges, and it's got black flake in it as well. Super cool pattern there. We've also got another one here with that June bug top and another 8-bit belly with just flake. As you turn it, it gets crazy, super reflective. You could go with a color shift, purple to green top, and pair it up with chartreuse. Even in a smaller bait, this is a killer crappie.
That is
purple and chartreuse. That's a go-to, which, by the way, we could do. Right? We've got June bug here, and we've got our chartreuse pepper that we made together. Pair those 2 guys up, and you've got a sweet crappie bait. So, sky's the limit, guys. You can really take this anywhere you want. You're only limited by your imagination.
Hopefully that gives you a really good starting place for mixing your own single colors, and not only that, but shooting some dual color baits too, and what to mix and match. And remember, like he said, the sky's the limit, so just let your
have fun with it, guys.
Get creative, try new things like he did with that giant 1/8-inch flake. That's I've never seen that before. That's super cool, and everybody loves those baits. Once you start really diving into this, you might run into some issues, so stay tuned, because the next video is going to be all about troubleshooting.